talking about the coyotes after your horse and you on it.
There's a big dark canyon between the upper Burnt River Valley and the lower Burnt River Valley. And I started down the canyon there after I had my supper that night. Dark, real dark. I couldn't see those coyotes, but they were just a yapping all around it. And way out into the brush and right on the road. Every little bit the horse would throw his head up in the air, and I knew they were trying to get his throat. But there's nothing I could do. I didn't have a gun or anything. If I'd had a gun and shot a few shots, they'd have taken off, I guess. But I was afraid they was going to cut that horse's throat. That's the way they kill cows that way.
Is that right?
They kill cows that way. They just keep jumping up and grabbing their throat till they cut that jugular and then they bleed to death.
So,
and
they have a
I
good
thought
meal.
that was... I kept hollering and yelling all the way, but it didn't do any good. I thought I could scare them away by yelling, but it didn't have any effect on them.
Well, were there quite a few of them?
I bet there was 100 around there.
Oh, I bet that
Of course,
horse...
one of them sounded like 2 or 4 anyway. But
I
there's
mean-
20 or 30 at least.
Imagine that horse was pretty frightened, wasn't he?
Oh yes, he stayed on the road. He wouldn't run, but every little bit he'd throw his head up.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that's what they was trying to do, cut his jugulars.
Now, after you moved to California or to Oregon, you became a first-class farmer, so to speak. Your experience, of course, in Ashe County at the Pine Holes, that had prepared you for all this venture in Oregon. Now, could you tell me a little about the Pine Holes here in Ashe County where you worked?
Well, that was over on the Virginia side, the Pine Holes were.
Mm-hmm.
But I worked over there for a couple of years before I went to West Virginia. I started work over there when I was 13.
13.
Well, I started carrying water when I was 12, really.
Was that a big lumber operation?
Oh, yeah, that's when I started taking that spruce timber out over in that country.
Uh-huh. Well, that virgin timber, that was what they were working with,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
It must
The
have been
virgin
beautiful
forest
timber.
over there.
Was that
Very
beautiful?
few people lived over in that country then.
Is there? And that
Just
was...
a few of the old-time settlers that settled in there.
Where did you get the name Pine Hole? Was that just...
Well, just because that pine there run down through the valley and they spread out clear up around on the hillsides. Well, that come clear up to Massey Gap up there where the old trail went over through Massey Gap.
But that's beautiful to see, wasn't it?
Oh, you could get on in the hills around there where you could see out there. It's just a solid mass of spruce up to way up on the side of the mountains around there. And then up at the upper side, why there's hardwood all the way around.
Is that right?
They went clear up to the maples over in the sugar land there. Maples come down in there and over the ridge, and that spruce come clear up to the maples.
Wonder how many acres that covered.
I don't have any idea.
A large amount.
It's a pretty large area.
Now, when you got to Oregon and went into farming, you moved to the Klamath Fall area, I believe. Is that right?
Well, Klamath Falls is in the valley there. The timber all the way around, except in the valley.
How far is that from the coast? How far do you live
Well,
from the coast now?
Right as a crow would fly over the hills and down, it's about probably 150 miles.
Uh-huh.
But the roads winding around, it's like these
Yeah,
hills
yeah.
here, they're pretty long roads.
Uh-huh.
By the road, it'll be about 300.
Is that right? Could you tell me a little bit about the hot springs or hot wells that you have on your place? Is it more than one?
No, it's just a well. There's no hot water on the surface there. Of course, now up in Klamath Falls, there, just on the east side of Klamath, they had a real hot spring up there. These Indians used to boil their eggs in there.
Really?
Yeah. But my well is hot enough to boil eggs too. It's run the pump for 30 minutes and it's up to 195 degrees.
You've had a little operation going from that well too, haven't you?
Well, I had a young couple coming in to grow plants, house plants and the like. But they made a failure of it. And now I have some people in there supposed to be growing prawns, but they haven't grew enough to sell yet. They took off 1,200 pounds, but they took them off and it was too small. The restaurant wouldn't take them when they took them up there.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, a lot of prawns to be rejected. What did they do with them?
Well, I suppose they took them home probably, and them and their friends probably eat them. I don't know. I didn't ask them what they did.
At a feast.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier that your expertise in 3 fields, you seem to know the Constitution from beginning to end, and in the beginning. Have you always been interested in our government, our Constitution?
I have, and I voted the first time when I was 21 years old. I voted in Klamath County, and I voted in that valley. I voted for 4 years on Siskiyou County, California, when I had my homestead down there. But I voted in that valley, and I've never missed a regular election since that time.
Well, so many people are interested maybe in good government or government and good government, I should say, and they don't think much about a constitution. But you seem well versed, and you seem so interested in it, and you know it so well. Have you spent a great deal of time studying?
Well, yes, I've studied the Constitution quite a lot. But we're not on the Constitution at all. They're not doing anything right now that's constitutional.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of a thing that they're doing. Well, they did start to build up our army a little bit the last 3-4 years. But they've let our national protection run down to the level. We have no protection practically.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we got a few bombs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we have enough bombs that Russia will never undertake of any other country. But now other countries, they don't like us. We tried to buy friends. Ever since World War II, we've been trying to buy friends. You can't buy friends. The more you give them, the more they want, and the more they're going to try to take.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't get back onto the Constitution and quit throwing this money away, nothing in the Constitution that permits them to take money away from you and me and give it to some other person or some other country.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not in the Constitution.
What you're saying is, if you've got a friend, if he's your friend, stick by him. I have thought maybe with these countries wanting to be our friends, wonder how they feel toward us if they ever feel like they're let down.
There's no question about it. They all feel let down.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we've got so weak in our national protection that they're afraid of us. I think they're just afraid of us.
Mm-hmm.
Afraid we won't stand by them if they got into trouble.
Are you thinking that even though we have our missiles and our bombs and all like that, you still need this manpower, army? And you see in Vietnam, for instance, had we wanted to, we could wipe them off the face of the earth. As far as our military strength would have been, but the manpower, the soldiers, and that sort. Is that what you're thinking, that we need to keep a strong manpower?
We need to
army.
We should keep a strong manpower, both land and sea,
Mm-hmm.
and in the air.
Mm-hmm.
And we should start building those better planes now. They did start on one. I don't know what they're doing with it yet.
Well, when you were in the Navy in World War I, your ship was, of course, it had to be seaworthy and that sort of thing. But Was it taken out of mothballs and started for that?
Oh yes, that was built for us in England during the Spanish War. We got two of them, and that was all old-time shipbuilding. Of course, it was seaworthy, but now a lot of the watertight hatches, they just wouldn't turn the water. We had to bail the water out of the berth deck several times. But still, they would do the work, but they only traveled 22 knots at the very best.
So you would have enjoyed a modern, up-to-date ship to have been on then, wouldn't you?
Boy, I had stayed in California after I got my discharge in 1919. I stayed there for the winter night, and the Bethlehem Steel Company had just finished a new cruiser. That one's a third-class cruiser that I was on. But this one was a first-class cruiser, and it was fired with oil, and I got a job firing on that while they was standardizing that ship before the Navy would accept it. And I almost shipped over it. That was such a beautiful ship, and speed, and I believe it was 34 knots or something like that it would make. And I couldn't really shipping over if I could have got on that ship. I think I would.
So your jobs in the Navy included the engineer, or in the engine room and
fire rooms and engine rooms. Yeah.
I see.
I graduated out of the fire rooms into the engine room.
I see. Oh, that's, and then on up. You quit that when you become the chauffeur for the captain. Is
yeah, I didn't have to do anything on the ship when I become chauffeur.
How were you chosen to be the chauffeur?
I don't know. They just asked for someone to volunteer for driving this car, and I volunteered. I asked if there's anyone there that could drive a car, and I held my hand up, and they called me out. And that's the last time I had to do any work on the ship.
Gave you a little time to be ashore and see some things too.
Oh yeah. Well, of course, I had standing ready for the captain's call anytime during the day. But at night he would let the other officers go off on shore, and I'd drive them wherever they wanted to go.
How did you spend your time on a ship when you were out to sea for the entertainment? I guess now they have movies and all these things to keep for the entertainment. What did you do in World War One?
Well, we didn't have anything to entertain us out there.
Work.
Work and read whatever you wanted to read. I read the Testament through pretty nearly twice while I was on board.
Oh.
Not much of anything else to do. We didn't have any library or anything on the ship.
I guess it's changed.
I kept a little Testament in my pocket all the time. When I was laying around on the bunkers, I'd get that out and read it. Study the Blue Jacket Manual. I studied that so that if I was called up for a higher job, I could cite everything I had to do in that job.
So you kept up with things.
I kept up with that Blue Jacket Manual. Yeah.
Was the Navy men? Was the morale pretty good on the? Morale pretty good on the ship, and the morals, were they pretty good?
Oh yeah, we got along good. The morals was about as good as it would be anywhere, I guess. Of course, it was a regulation all the time. We had to do certain things at certain times. When we got ashore, we had to be back on time, or we got put on report, maybe extra duty. But I was only overdue one time. Went to bed in New York and left wrote on there to be called at a certain time, but that time they didn't call me. That's the only time that I can remember of staying in the hotel and they didn't call me. They left me late. But my record was clear, and the captain says, well, he says, you've got a good record. And he says, I hate to spoil a good record. And he says, if you don't stay out late another time, why, said we'll just forget it.
That was a good break, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, the Navy and was a far cry, you know, from being Ashe County. Of course, we don't have any lakes.
Yeah.
Well, of course, we have the creeks and that sort of thing. Do you feel pretty much at home on the waters?
Oh, yeah. I was awfully homesick the first 3 months that I was there, but not homesick, but seasick.
Yeah.
And after I got over that seasickness, I rode her fine.
Well, I think we've sort of wrapped up the things that we wanted to branch out and go back and see if we'd overlooked anything, because you come in once a year and hopefully you'll be back next year, and maybe we can make another tape and find out how your farming's doing out in Oregon. And
well, I hope to come back again next year if everything works out good.
well, I hope you do. And it's just been also awfully good for you.
Well, my health holds. It's no trick now that those buses are comfortable.
Now,
Only takes 3 days to make the trip. So
when you were 85, you drove out, didn't you?
Yeah.
Your truck, one of your trucks. And
Yeah.
you don't like to fly very much. Do you like to fly?
No, I don't like to fly. I've been up in the plane once, flew around over Sacramento Valley down there. But I'd rather be down where I can see that there's nothing I enjoy more than watching the country as we drive through it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I don't want to be off the ground. I love the ground.
You want to see what's going on.
I want to see what's going on. Even in those deserts there now, I enjoy living in those deserts. I'd like to get up there and prowl around in them.
Look, I guess you passed through a lot of beautiful scenery.
Deep. It's over 200 feet right there where we cross it. Yeah. There's enough concrete in that to build a 4-lane highway from there, from San Francisco clear to New York. A lot of cement.
Yes, it is. It's built to last a while,
Yeah.
isn't it?
That's what the bus driver told us.
Is that right?
He has quite a little spiel as he crossed that, telling how much cement's in there and how many feet deep it is and how many miles long it is.
So it's almost like a tour when you catch a bus and come home. It's almost like a guided tour.
That's right. They start through some place that's really noted by they'll tell you the story.
Well, we'll see you next year on tape again.
Okay,
Thank you so much.